Greetings, all you Jackson Jennets out there. Thank you for tuning into your daily dose of donkey with Ginger. And guess what? I'm not by myself again. Gingy's in the house one more time, so let's let him lead it off.
What, Mutant Ginger in the house? Yeah, Donkey, easy. We're coming back in. It's time to, get out of summer break mode. We got people rolling into camp. Ben Roethlisberger, make a difference. Yo, all right. Fit and trim. Looking like he's ready to hike and yike this football right out of here, Donkey. Who's stoked? Gingy's stoked. What do you got to say?
If he's fit and trim, dude, go sign me up to play professional soccer. Alright? That's all I'm gonna say.
Well,
Yeah, I got that. Ben's coming in. He's taking it serious. He's gonna be in the best shape of his life, and for some reason, I expected that to be like the Aaron Rodgers, Tom Brady commitment. But you know what? He's a smaller Ben Roethlisberger, I guess. I guess I expected him to be more on the Tom Brady scale when I heard that than the Jared Lorenzo scale.
Well, you know what? Donkey looks like he's ready to start eating that football all over the place, okay? I'm excited.
He's gonna yeet it out of the sideline. That's yeet it over to the hot dog stand. Like, I don't know.
There you go. But yeah, what do we got? What did I read this week? He's got some assistance with this new playbook, eh?
Yeah. So, fun note, first training camp, and we ran out of centers. That's a thing that happened, by the way. We had no centers available because, for some reason, Green wasn't there. And some reason, top of the depth chart, Hassenhauer left due to injury. And the boy B.J. Finney left due to injury. Supposedly not serious, but not a good look when on day one you run out of a position.
That's tough luck. Let's hope that those guys have a good chance to bounce back. Nothing serious, Donkey. Come on, man. Not on day one. Don't do this to me.
I didn't do it. I'm just telling you what happened.
It's your negative
I am telling
naysaying.
You the facts.
Like I said,
I don't try to offend people. I just tell them numbers that make them feel bad.
You need to talk about the good juju.
Well, the good juju is Juju was there. I mean, I guess that's the good juju.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about, Donkey.
There's a couple, though, really serious Steelers stories that we should get into. Where'd you want to go first?
Well, I like to go to positives, Donkey. And with that, new additions. Melvin Ingram, okay, probably the best guy at that position left on the board, in my opinion.
No.
In my opinion, well, okay, most affordable guy on the board left in that opinion because you're not paying Houston $16 million, okay? I'm excited. You need somebody there, okay? That Bud Dupree is a massive hole, Donkey. Mm-hmm. On the other end of that, the OLB position, which we'll be fortunately getting to talk about a little later. I think Melvin Ingram brings a little bit of, speed, presence, experience. Yes, I know he's a Chad. What are you going to do, though, Donkey?
I'll get into that point. My first point is, yes, the depth just got better in outside linebacker. Yes, Melvin Ingram is one of the people I named earlier that the Steelers should look at. Bigger issue for me is Justin Houston's still on the board, and Justin Houston is such a better player than Melvin Ingram. Same age, productivity labels one a lot better, injuries one gets hurt a lot less. I don't care if it would have cost us double to take Houston. I have a weird feeling you're going to see Justin Houston sign for about $7 million. I think the reason Justin Houston didn't want to sign with Pittsburgh is Pittsburgh signed someone to be the backup. I think they told Justin Houston, no, we're not guaranteeing you starting snaps, and that's what led him away. And if that's the case, this is a bad decision in my opinion, because Justin Houston, if you're in win now mode, is such a better player than Melvin Ingram. The stats show it, the careers show it, and you have to remember, Melvin Ingram's a guy who has accumulated 7 total sacks over the past 2 seasons. He has missed more games than he has sacks, and last year he was playing opposite one of the best defensive ends in football in Joey Bosa. And do you know how many sacks he registered in his 7 starts?
How many don't?
I'll make it easy for you. You got as many sacks as he did last year in the NFL.
Oof.
I do think the signing makes the depth better. I'm not sure $4 million is the price to pay for a depth piece. I would have preferred Justin Houston. Clearly is my number one. But if you're going to take a rebound guy, I would have took a really high potential guy who you could probably sign for about $2.5 million, and that would have been Vic Beasley. I think Vic Beasley would have been the better play here.
What?
I hope he comes in and has a great year.
Beasley? Donkey?
Has Melvin Ingram ever put up 15 sacks in the season? Yeah, I didn't think so. Also, age a little bit on Vic Beasley's side. Also, injuries scare me. And not to mention, he was a Charger. And do we want to get into the list of Chargers failures as Pittsburgh Steelers? Should we start with Ladarius Green, who was supposed to be the guy to absolutely make us forget Heath Miller? Or should we go to Cam Thomas, who was supposed to be the guy that was going to make us forget about Ziggy Hood being a first-round bust? Which, by the way, he actually turned out to have a pretty good career after leaving the Steelers. But he was one of my top 3, so I'm not upset by this move. I'm more upset that this move happened while there were better pieces on the board and the price tag. I think $4 million is a little bit of an overpay for a zero production injury prone guy, which is what he has been the last 2 years, has been about a zero production injury prone guy. I'm not sure that's what you need at this point. I would have preferred to see an impact player signed. I would have preferred to put as much money as possible to getting Justin Houston here. And if you were going to get one of the injury prone, I think $3 million or less is where the signing was. So to me, the reason I don't like the deal is not because I don't like Melvin Ingram. He was one of my top 3 to come in. It's just, I feel with the players available and the price that was paid, it was an overreach. And I think it shows desperation from the Steelers because who were we bidding against? No one else was really interested in him. He's went to 6 different teams without a contract offer. I feel like we were desperate to add someone because, let's be honest, anyone thinking Cassius Marsh is a great guy to be the top rotational. I think once we couldn't do anything with the Justin Houston legs, we missed out on a couple others. I think we got a little scared and overpaid a little bit here, to be honest.
I don't know, Donkey. We'll see. It's a key position. It was needed. I'm glad to see him make a move there. Cassius Marsh ain't gonna. Got it? No thanks.
We're definitely better today than we were yesterday. Well,
there you go.
We're better now than we were a week ago, let's say.
Yeah, I'll definitely agree with that. Yeah, speculate, analyze, put that one on the old little notebook pad, Donkey. That'll be a good one
if
to
he has
revisit.
a better season than... If Justin Houston signs somewhere that's not crazy, him buried on the depth chart, and Melvin Ingram outperforms Justin Houston, feel free to give me all the nonsensical stuff in the world because, you know what? I would deserve it. It would be a bad take. I've had plenty of them, not afraid to put my thoughts out there.
It's not necessarily a bad take based on the evidence. No, not at all. But, lining up against, or lining up, the opposite side of what I would call, the premier outside linebacker in the NFL, TJ Watt. You never know what that does for a man's career.
That's true, but that's like saying Joey Bosa's a scrub, though. I mean, it's not like he wasn't playing beside let's call him a top 10 pass rusher in the NFL. I think that's fair to put Bosa in that category right now, right?
Yeah.
I mean... He's in that top 10, if not at least the top 20 for sure, guaranteed. And he just didn't put up any production last year. He's a guy who's coming off injuries. And I don't mean this to be mean, but, bro, you start suffering injuries a lot in your 30s, and you were a speed-based guy, it kills your game. You don't believe it? Ask Le'Veon Bell. Wasn't really a speed-based guy, but look what happened to him after just one serious leg injury. When you lose a step in the NFL loses you.
Dang, harsh realities.
I hope he's healthy. I hope he performs well. I'm a little nervous. I told you this yesterday. If this was an incentive-based contract, like a $1.5 million base salary and $2.5 in incentives, I would have loved it because then he needed to perform to get the money. The fact that it's 4 just straight up to me, I'm like, that could have been used a little better.
Well,
if you don't have final words on that, Go
Well,
ahead and
I
lead us
mean,
to
I'm
the
not
next one.
sure. Is that really what 4 million to me still seems reasonable for a player on the outside linebacker position? For someone of note, for a guy who made the Pro Bowl multiple times. I don't know. We'll have to see whether your 4 million investment gets turned around there.
Yeah. I just think there could have been smarter ways to handle it, but it is what it is. Let's get on to the second big Steeler story of the week.
Oh boy, Donkey. Oh boy. You hate to see it. Longtime Steeler guy, Vince Williams, retired from the NFL. Yeah, we lost him. We lost him. Had him back.
We got him back.
What a roller coaster of a season with Vince Williams. You know, a guy I have a lot of admiration for, Donkey. You know, I like the gritty type of position. I like the big boy tackles in the middle, the hard-nosed stuff the run type of deal.
I love late round draft picks.
All in all, you know, that type of linebacker's getting a hair bit more defunct against the newer age type of NFL offenses. But heck of a guy. I got some great memories, great run stuffs. Gonna miss Vince Williams.
Still one of the best blitzers from the middle linebacker position in the game. I think that hurts the pass rush a lot more than we want to talk about because now we're back to, again, losing two of our best sub-package blitzers in Vince Williams and Mike Hilton are once again gone. I've already went over this when we lost him the first time when we cut him, so I don't think I need to go into it a second time. But outside linebacker depth gets good, and middle linebacker depth once again goes to poop. Unless you are an absolute believer that Buddy Johnson is a better version of Vince Williams, which I haven't seen anything to make me believe that. Yep. I don't know what to say, Gingy. I don't feel good about the depth at middle linebacker again. I'm not sure I feel good about middle linebacker again, because let's be honest, we're banking on Devin Bush, who, while showed glimpses, also was very inconsistent in his first 2 years. Coming off an injury, we're hoping he can come back and be not only just the bright spot, but healthy, because he has to not only be the consistent player he hasn't been to this point, but now he needs to be healthy. We're looking at Robert Spillane, who when he started to get more and more snaps, you started to see worse and worse play out of him. He looks like a guy who at best is a 30-40% snap guy, rotational player, really good hard-nosed goal line type of guy, run situation type of guy, early down linebacker. Does this mean Marcus Allen needs to step up now? Like, what is the goal now at middle linebacker? Is Marcus Allen, with Vince Williams going down, is he going to be the top rotational guy, a former safety? Is that the route that we should go? Is that the route the Steelers are going to go?
I don't think that's going to cut it.
Miles Killebrew? We can go with another free agent signing we made, if you think he's going to play middle linebacker instead of safety.
Miles Killebrew, Marcus Allen, Killebrew?
Yeah, it's not fun either way.
Reluctantly, Killebrew?
I don't know. I hope it works out here, but the depth in middle linebacker is leaving me a little lost for words. I mean, I was happy to get Vince back because even though Vince isn't a great coverage linebacker, the thing is, he makes the offense worry about him when he's on the field, even during passing downs. I'm not sure we have that anymore in the middle of the field. I'm not sure there's a linebacker you worry about being on the field during a passing down right now in the Steelers uniform. And to me, that's concerning. And it's really funny that our scariest linebacker on passing downs was the one who couldn't cover a wet frickin' t-shirt, you know?
Yeah, I hear you, Donkey. It's going to be a sore loss. I hear you.
But I'm happy for Vince. I mean, I don't know why he re-signed if he just wanted to retire. Who knows what went on in between? Who knows if some of these stupid protocols the NFL are putting in place for COVID had something to do with it? But man, I wish him nothing but the best because he gave nothing but everything to the Steelers. And if you think otherwise, I think you're crazy.
Hell yeah.
That gets me to the last thing I want to talk about here. Did you see this bullshit NFL policy that both teams will now forfeit game checks if a game has to be canceled because another team had a, let's call him non-vaccinated player, break out in COVID-19?
Oof.
How the hell are you going to punish a team that did nothing wrong? I'm not against you making the other team forfeit the game and forfeit their paychecks. I can see that, maybe. I'm not even sure I see that because then you're telling them they work for Monday to Saturday for free. And I'm not sure I'm cool about that. This leads me to the NFL needs guaranteed contracts. But how the hell do you punish a team that didn't do anything wrong? Explain to me what the NFL's thinking here, and explain to me how the NFLPA let this shit happen.
EA let it happen with a few concessions, most likely. And, boy, I don't know. NFL's just coming down heavy-handed about where their stance is with what you need to do.
It's ridiculous. I don't care what your stance is on vaccines. It is ridiculous to tell an NFL team, you do nothing wrong, but you're not going to get paid. Gingy, it's like I show up to your office and say, hey, one of your coworkers showed up 10 minutes late, so today no one in your office is getting a fucking paycheck. Would that shit roll?
Yeah, somebody in that locker room is biting the big one, donkey.
I don't know what to say here. I can't believe what Fuhrer Goodell is trying to do over there. Like, is he trying to make his legacy the most douchebag douchebag head of any corporation in the history of ever? Like, I don't understand how you can tell people, you're going to come in, you're going to put in the work, and we're not going to pay you. And I don't know how the heads of the NFLPA don't all get fired by the players' union. Because if you're a player out there doing everything right, and let's say it's 80% of your locker room is doing everything right, literally two dickheads could ruin it for everybody. And no one's going to get paid. That, to me, is so absurd.
Yeah, it sounds kind of absurd.
I can't believe this will not get brought up in court somehow. Like, I can't believe that someone won't make a case of this because literally these guys have the chance of playing for free is what it means. Or working for free, let's call it.
Well, you don't count me in on that boat. All right, donkey. I ain't working for free.
No, and if I was an NFL player where my life is on the line, I sure as hell ain't working for free. I'd be like, you're going to pay me on every Monday, and if I don't get my paycheck on Monday, I ain't showing up to work. I mean, we already have superstars really pissed about this. I mean, you see what DeAndre Hopkins had to say. He's like, I don't know if I'm going to play NFL anymore. I think he will, but he definitely said, this stupid policy is making me question my future. And please, someone who listens and believes this is a good policy, comment on this and explain to me so I can at least understand what the other side is thinking, how it is a good policy to make both teams forfeit game checks. I'm not even sure I agree with the team that got COVID forfeiting a game check because they got people sick, but because let's be honest, Gingy, if you get hurt, you get all your game checks still, right? If you miss a game for the flu, you still get that game check, right?
And that's what I mean about that heavy-handed approach. I think they're kind of making a little statement about what their expectations and boundaries are around this issue, and I don't know. That's a tough stance to hold, donkey.
I hope this is the one that finally gets Fuhrer Goodell got. You know, I had to get into that because I read that and I was like, you got to be. How is that something that the NFLPA let happen? I think that's what I'm more upset about is how does the NFLPA let that get put on their players?
It must have got something good, donkey.
Yeah, it must have got Goodell on his knees. Anyway, let's move on to some fun takes for this week. We did point counterpoint last week for the offense. Let's do it this week for the defense. We'll start on the defensive line. Ginger, you want to go good or bad here?
Defensive line?
The good or the bad?
I don't know, donkey. I'll take good on defensive line.
Go for it.
Let's see, donkey. Steelers? I don't know, Donkey. I don't know. Give me a second. All right, give me a second. All right, to gather my.
One of the top-rated defensive lines last year, returning all 3 starters, same depth guys, added a couple draft picks. Your move. Go off that. I got you, Gingy.
Yeah, I know. I'm like I said, I'm formulating thoughts, Donkey. Do you know the meme when you see the numbers and the equations going around a person's head? We need a VOD right now where that's happening to me. Okay, because that's real life. But defensive line, easy defend for the good. All right, coming off of a strong year for that unit, 3 guys legitimately, in my opinion, who are Pro Bowl caliber guys with Alu, Cam Hayward, Tuitt, all guys returning despite what might be what might have been portrayed as the otherwise. Not a strong likelihood we get all those guys back. Sneak Alu back from Jacksonville. Woot woot. And
hey, guess what? COVID got us that one.
And I'm going to promote the consistency at that position. Steady production last year. No changes. Looking for continued production this year. And for a younger guy like Alu to perhaps come on even more.
I'm not sure any of our 30-plus defensive lineman starters could be considered younger guys, but I get what your point is. The bad case for me is real simple. Cam Hayward, Stephen Tuitt, Alu have all been injury-prone guys. Cam Hayward and Tuitt have almost never played a full season together. Yet they almost managed to do that last year. More games, more chances to get hurt. One of those guys gets hurt, and I hate to break it to you, if you watched the defensive line last year that had to replace them, it was a lot of, boy, I hope he doesn't have to get extended stay. And that didn't happen. Unfortunately, I don't see us keeping 3 healthy guys. I see 3 guys who are on the plus side of 30 take a half step back each, which means they each lose a little bit. You add an injury in there, and all of a sudden the bad comes out. It doesn't mean I don't believe in these guys. I think the injuries and the age are going to be what shows the bad case here. And unfortunately for me, a back step in the defensive line is going to lead to a back step in the defense.
It usually does. It all starts off up front. Donkey. I mean, that's a fair point. Yeah, excuse my French there about younger guys. I know that the starters on it. You talked about a couple different younger guys possibly being able to switch in and out of that unit, perhaps bringing some healthy freshness onto, But overall, yeah, if I was on that counterpoint side, Donkey, I would have argued depth. But at the same time, man, fortunate position to be in with three high skill level guys coming in to start that line.
The 3 top guys are all early round draft picks, and the problem to me is all the young guys, all the depth guys are late round draft picks, and none of them are really hugely wanted guys. You're talking Carlos Davis, you're talking Loudermilk added this year. I mean, you could talk whichever one you want. They're guys who had some of them had good college pedigrees, but not good measurables. And honestly, none of them make me feel comfortable about the future of the defensive line if something happens to one of the top guys.
You're not sold on Loudermilk?
I'm sold that we sure as hell wasted a draft pick getting him, yeah.
Oof, yeah.
I mean, you're talking a dude who couldn't produce in college. Well, I'm supposed to fall in love with him because he has the size. Okay. I'm sure you can find plenty of people who are 6'4", 275. I'm not sure that makes a football player. Hopefully he proves me wrong. I do not wish, for everyone who thinks it, I do not wish ill will of any of the Steelers draft picks or players. I love late round draft picks who make it, but I'm going to speak from an honest perspective and from an honest look in. If my perspective and look is wrong, well, then it's wrong. There's nothing I can do about it. But I'm not going to just buy the Kool-Aid because I'm told by one person out of 100 that this guy is legit,
Yeah, I can't tell you either. I didn't much follow that unit. That's that Alabama unit, isn't it?
No, he's a Cornhusker.
Oh, is he?
Yep. Joshua was, was that his first name last year? Joshua Frazier, is that right? He was an Alabama guy. We have a couple of them. We have been taking a couple of them since we hired Alabama's D-line coach to be ours. We took a few of them. We have Carlos Davis, who I think was from a small school coming in. also in there. I don't know though, but if that touches that on defensive line, I'll give you the positive to the outside linebackers.
Uh, Positive to the outside linebackers.
That's me. If we're all done with the defensive line, you good
Uh,
there? We
yeah,
good?
yeah, I'll take that.
All
That's
right.
fine.
Outside linebackers, Gingy. I got one word for you. Well, not one word. I guess it's two words. Two letters. TJ. Let's just start there and say, you got a stud. You got a stud. That makes the unit good. I'm also going to add in, I do believe Alex Highsmith takes a little step forward, proving that he's going to be, and I'm sorry, everybody, he's not going to be Joey Porter, in my opinion, but I think he takes a step to becoming Jason Worlds. I think he ends up in the 7-sack range this year, and that's a step forward to him. Adding depth in Ingram helps a lot here. I think he comes back, gets a rotational piece, gets about 4.5 sacks. So that outside linebacker unit produces fairly well. I think it struggles a little bit against the run game because the best run stopper on that unit was Bud Dupree. I think the run game starts to struggle a little bit with it, but I don't think that outdoes what TJ Watt puts out. So obviously the good is TJ Watt's there. Highsmith takes a step forward, and the depth is the depth is about the same it is last year. I think Ingram and Highsmith are going to be about the same level in terms of depth rotation pieces. So I think the fact that they were good last year and they're going to produce very similar is my argument for the good this year.
All right then. Outside linebackers. Well, the only thing I could say about that the magic TJ pill that you're talking about, is he better stay healthy. Is that your whole argument rotates on that single hinge? And
Yep.
generally he has been. Yeah, you're looking at a guy in the last year of his rookie deal. And I think overall losing Bud Dupree to that unit, Donkey is going to lose a major consistency piece. The born and bred drafted Bud Dupree has been a mainstay at that position for the Steelers, and I've talked highly on Highsmith, and don't get me wrong, but for the sake of a counterpart argument, Jason Worlds maybe, okay, it has the potential to be a whole lot less too, but like I said, for the sake of the argument,
That's fair.
But
That's
again, I am torn saying that because you know how I feel about Highsmith. But just saying, I am also an optimistic Steeler fan. So, for the point of a counterpoint, yeah. And Ingram coming in, yeah, might bring a little bit of depth, might bring a little bit of injuries. That has been consistent for him, as it does for the most of those Chargers guys out there. But but like I said, so when we're talking counterpoints, yeah, we might be looking at a unit that's slightly worse off than last year. When we're needing a unit that's going to be equal to or better than last year.
I hear you on that. That's totally fair. I got nothing to say to back that.
Again, that's
I'm just lucky
that's
I had
for
TJ
me.
to be my point.
That counterpoint, I'll just say for everyone, was very hard for me to muddle through, as I am such a homer with linebackers for Pittsburgh. But I think we made our
That
point.
counterpoint could be really simple. Alex Highsmith as a starter last year mustered 1 sack in like 5 starts.
Yeah.
Melvin Ingram as a starter last year mustered 0 sacks in 7 starts.
Yeah, like
Bud
I
Dupree
said,
as a starter in 11 games last year, 8 sacks. Good luck replicating.
as a big homer, like I said, I've talked high on all those guys and hope the best for them. Developing.
TJ Watt literally had the best year of his career. You expect him to do even better?
He's not
Nah,
going to do better. I hope he can.
Just replicate would be good. Replicate would be good.
Yeah, it is. It's so cool to watch, the Steelers outside linebackers kind of, evolve over the years. You used to seeing, Kevin Green and Greg Lloyd, and then in that era, and then you go to the more of the James Harrison type of eras, and I'd love to see TJ develop.
Gilden?
Yeah, well, yeah, Gilden, of course, the bigger guys like Gilden, Lloyd, like I said, yeah. But then you get the James Harrisons, and I'd love to see TJ develop sort of a knack for the strip sack, like a James Harrison had.
I don't know if that's going to be his game just because he's not a blindside. That tends to be like always the blindside pass rushers thing. Like face up pass rushers don't tend to be that strip sack guy just because the strip sack guy always seems to be the guy who gets it from behind, right? And you don't get to get it from behind when you're TJ Watt.
That's true. That's true, Donkey.
Now, if you're saying he's to switch sides, I guess that's a debate we could have.
Oof.
Make him have the potential to be the strip sack king. Anyway, before we get off too far on a tangent, middle linebackers, yeah, I'm so happy that you have to do the good here.
All right, good. For middle linebackers, what we're hanging our hat on here is Devin Bush. We've got a high first-round draft pick with a lot of potential coming in there. He showed a lot of promise before the injury last year. Okay, he was really starting to develop, starting to more shore up tackles in the middle. I'm really looking for him to bounce back from that injury and continue to hold down that center unit. We're gonna have some piecemeal people in and out of there, and I hope that that unit can hang on. Donkey, that's a tough position with middle linebackers on a day when we lose Vince Williams, my friend.
Yeah, it is. And what I'm going to tell you is last year our middle linebackers sucked. This year, our middle linebacking depth is worse than it was last year. And you're going to tell me I should bank on potential. That's a deadly word. I'll tell you what I remember. You remember week 2 last year? Do you remember who kept getting torched every passing play? It
week
was
2.
Steelers superstar Devin Bush.
Who was week 2 last year?
I don't remember, but I remember it was the week 2 game and Devin Bush was just getting turned like a turnstile. So you're talking our best linebacker was drafted because he's fast and supposed to be above average in coverage, yet he has never graded as above average in coverage in the NFL. He has never shown the ability to cover in the NFL yet. I do believe in Devin Bush, but I'm not quite sold he's ready to take a step, especially coming off a serious injury. I mean, just getting him through the season healthy I think will be a big thing, but I expect the middle linebackers to be weak. I mean, you're talking, we have Devin Bush coming off an injury who at best was inconsistent for 2 seasons, missed a lot of development time, and has now been more focused on rehab than football. I think this year is going to be a comeback year for him. I think year 4 will be a breakout year, but I think he struggles this year. Let's go into who's going to start beside him. Is it going to be Spillane? If you watch the Steelers, you know he made some great tackles, and man, what he did against Derrick Henry, I will never forget. But let's be honest, after that, he was very, very below average for the rest of the season. Okay, so at best, we have another below average cast off. But wait, we'll add on to that Miles Killebrew. Well, I'll put him in here. Another guy who never lived up to draft hype, below average cast off. How about Buddy Johnson? A guy who couldn't cover in college. You think he's going to be able to cover in the NFL? Yeah, me neither. Okay, so then maybe Marcus Allen. That dude, seriously, every time he tries to make a tackle, gets hurt. Do you expect him to be able to stop any of these big running backs in the AFC North? I mean, you're talking, he's going to get hit by Nick Chubb. He's going to get run over by whatever big back the Baltimore Ravens decide to put in there. Heck, I think even, oh my gosh, why can't I think of his name? Mixon out there at Cincinnati's bigger than Marcus Allen. So I'm looking at a lot of below average square pegs trying to get stuck into a round hole here. I mean, they're not even below average round pegs. They're a bunch of below average guys who don't fit a position trying to get shoved into playing middle linebacker for the Pittsburgh Steelers. And it is the group that makes me the most nervous on this defense because it is the group that sucked the most last year on this defense and on paper only has gotten worse.
Yeah, Donkey. I understand that. I'll finish out that discussion with I think that we have as a positive point. I think we have a lot of guys with a lot of different positive skill sets. What you mentioned right there as a bunch of journeymen, I feel really excel in particular situations. Okay, and if we find the formula in which defensive packages those individual skill sets excel, I think that you could have something.
That's fair. I'd like to get on to the secondary, and I have a good point for you. So
where we land on this one, Donkey?
on which one?
On the
secondary?
on the secondary. Which point am I arguing here?
Oh, I'm the good point here, and I got one thing for you. So we declined the option on Terrell Edmunds, right?
Yeah,
Didn't pick up his 5th-year option.
Yeah.
Terrell Edmunds signs a 4-year contract next year to stay with the Pittsburgh Steelers. That's my whole counter. That's my whole good point. Because if he does that, guess what? You know he had a good year. If he has a good year playing beside Minkah Fitzpatrick, you know we had a great year on the back end. And here's the biggest problem. If we have a great year on the back end, that makes up for the 2 biggest liabilities we have, which is both Cam Sutton and Joe Hayden struggle on coverage plays that are long. Guess what? It doesn't matter if they struggle on coverage plays that last over 3 seconds if the back 2 guys are great ball hawks. It's going to make up for the fact they're going to get to play downhill at corner because the 2 guys behind them are going to absolutely be ball hawks this season.
Really? Not buying it, Donkey. Counterpoint, I felt we lost our best coverage corner in the offseason with Steven Nelson.
Yep.
And that combined with an aging Joe Hayden on the other side means that there is going to be holes all over the field. If we're looking at your point in regards to middle linebacker, because let's be honest, it's hard to break these units down into individuals because, defense is a team game. But if you're looking at the pass game, which is primarily what you're looking at with the secondary, you have to look at the middle linebackers with the secondary, and there's going to be holes, Donkey. There's going to be holes. The only thing that I'm saying here, the positive point for the secondary is that we got a linebacker that can rush in less than 2.5 seconds on 3 out of 4 downs. Okay? That's your positive point for the secondary.
Minkah Fitzpatrick is very offended right now, is all I'm going to say.
I tell you what, yes, he is going to be back there deep, but I think that, he's going to have to make some reads because there's going to be people getting beat in different places, and I don't know. I don't know if that's going to be Minkah's natural skill set. He's not Troy Polamalu.
Lake 2.0? You don't believe in Carnell Lake? I did. Aha! I even compared it to a different safety. Didn't expect that one, did you?
Carnell Lake's a good one. Carnell Lake's a good one. Like I said, if you could bring me back Rod Woodson and Carnell Lake right now, I'd feel a lot better.
He's never going to be Troy Polamalu 2.0 because that's not what he's supposed to be. He plays the other side. Come on now, Gingy. Come on now, Gingy.
Free and strong. I hear ya. But yeah, that's my negative to the secondary, losing the best guy on the unit and really having not a whole lot to replace him and not a whole lot to supplement that loss on any other position.
I was waiting for you to go after the fact that we lost the best blitzer from that package and Mike Hilton. Thank you for not killing me on that point.
That would have been an easy one too, but yeah, that even happened so long ago. I've almost
Dude, I swear to God, if he breaks Ben Roethlisberger, I'm gonna cry.
He's gonna hit him, but I think Benny Boy's gonna give him a little okie doke.
Oh, okay, so Gingy, I think that was a good counterpoint, and yeah, I agree with you. The defense is a little harder to break down unit by unit because, let's be honest, the secondary could be strong, but look terrible if the defensive front doesn't get pressure, right?
Yep.
So yeah, they all have to work in tandem a little more than the offense. But I want to get to one point before we get to any shoutouts or anything like that. Tom Brady playing a whole season on a torn MCL. Still being a top 5 quarterback. The hell do you make of that?
It's tough. That's it. That's raw toughness. That's a sheer... He just wills that into existence. He just decides.
I don't mean this to be mean, but remember when Ben got hit in his knee and he had like a little sprain or a little twinge and no one talked about it, and then you could see his passing production went down from week 10 on.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah,
like a normal human being, right?
You're I was gonna say,
How does that mother lover play a season on a torn MCL and make you believe he's not hurt? Like, how good do you have to be that you're capable of doing that?
pretty dang good, pretty dang good. But you know, to your point about Ed Roethlisberger in that position,
I wasn't
come on,
slighting
man.
on him at
Yeah,
all. I wasn't slighting him at all.
The passing did go down, but that was a little more than a little twinge. What I saw on
Yeah,
that
but
hit.
it wasn't like a tear or anything.
Looked like
Is
a
what
jack.
I'm saying. Like, it wasn't a
jacked.
tear. Like, I wasn't making that point to rock on Ben. I was saying that because most of our listeners are Steelers fans. Most of our listeners watch the Steelers, so it's pretty obvious to make the point there, right?
I hear you.
My point was, when you see a normal human being get a knee injury, you see diminished production. You see Tom Brady get a knee injury, and people are like, he's still Tom Brady. Like, seriously, why didn't we sign this guy?
Stride on.
I mean, if you were one of those teams who didn't sign him last year, are you not kicking yourself in the nuts right now?
Yeah. You know,
Jesus Christ.
you just never know when this guy. Yeah, this guy just keeps going and going and going.
Hey, I'm back to you bet on Tom Brady till Tom Brady proves you don't bet on Tom Brady. Because, my lord, in the era of all these good young modern quarterbacks, he still might be the one I would take.
What a competitor.
Jesus. All right, well, I think that was a good episode for us this week. So, Gingy, let's go ahead and lead to some shout-outs. Who you going for? You're going to steal mine, I just know it.
Obviously, I think so. I mean, you know, when people retire, and I got to show love to the Vinny. Man, not an easy position to replace. Not going to find a guy like him anytime soon. Gonna miss it, Donkey. Shout out to Vince Williams for his years of service with the Pittsburgh Steelers.
My shout out as well, and my shout out is to the Steelers for why aren't we waking up to this? Vince Williams was continuing a legacy of a man named Lawrence Timmons of the Florida State Pittsburgh Steelers middle linebackers who just dominate against the run. Why the hell is there not a Florida State middle linebacker on the Pittsburgh Steelers roster right now? I mean, how can we let it end here? Clearly, it doesn't matter if he's a first-round pick, Law Dog, or a sixth-round pick, Vince Williams. We needed to have a Florida State middle linebacker on this roster.
Hear, hear, Donkey.
Anyway, that about wraps it up for us. Thank you all if you made it through our little mind-numbing experiments we try to keep you entertained with. I am the Viking Donkey. Reach me at Viking Donkey on Xbox, Viking_Donkey on Twitch and Twitter. Leave us a comment on your Daily Dose of Donkey with Ginger to anything we brought up today or anything you'd like to hear in a future episode. And I'll send it over to Gingy to tell you where to catch him and to sign us off.
Hell yeah. Mutant Gingy on the Xbox Live. We rockin' the variety. Today there's a new Diablos 3 season started, and I'd like some teal items. So, with that being said, Steelers Nation, wave 'em if you got 'em. Let's go.
17-0.